Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to episode 65 of the Casual Weebs podcast. An absolute incredible week, as always, for anime. This week, though, was a bit special. I feel like for the first time this season, we finally had another anime other than To Be Hero X kind of claim the number one spot. Of course, that is just my opinion, but I really feel like Go Go Loser Ranger absolutely popped off this week. It's incredible. It really kind of reopened and changed the entire landscape of this series, which has been phenomenal in the first place. But now you know shit's about to get real, it's about to get crazy, and it's going to be incredible. And I'm super, super excited for that. And I'm not saying that lately either, because To Be Hero X delivered this week. Like, what was that ending? You know what I mean? I need the next episode right now. Like, and that's the last episode of the arc as well. So I cannot wait to dive into Go Go Loser Ranger, To Be Hero X, and of course, Kowloon Generic Romance, which has just been an absolute, like, what is going on all season long. So, I mean, what do you want to start with? What do you want to get into first?
I feel like Go-Go would be a good
Yeah.
good place to talk, good place to start. Just because like the last few episodes have really built up to it, but
Mm-hmm.
we finally got some huge payoff. This episode was crazy, and I definitely agree with you. Like, little biased. To Be Hero X has probably been one of my favorites, if not my favorite this season.
Yep.
Every week delivering a banger, but Go-Go really popped off. And like as a viewer, going all the way back to season one and seeing the plot come this far,
Mm-hmm.
very, very satisfying.
Yeah, that's what I felt was really incredible because to the public, you know, in this series, it's all been fake. Or they guess I thought they thought it was real, but like so much of it was been faked to them. Right? Because pretty much what you have is you have these monsters that kind of came down to Earth. They have these bosses that kind of control everything, and they kind of smoked the humans. That's where a couple special humans got these divine artifacts and became dragon keepers, right? Became the Rangers, and they were super, super strong, or they are super strong. Completely turns the the momentum of the war, and they smoke. I pretty sure like half the bosses, maybe more than half of them, and then the other half went into hiding, and they pretty much won. They went to the monsters who just didn't know what to do, and like, yo, we kind of run the show now. Here's what you guys are going to do. We want to keep our fame and popularity. So every Sunday, you're going to come down. You're going to do some fake bullshit attack. We're going to sell tickets to it, make it a whole spectacle, and we're going to whoop you. We're going to send you back, and we're going to call it a day. We'll see you next week, right? And they're like, all right, like I guess so. You know, why not? I mean, we get to live, right? So that's been pretty much what's been going on, and it's been completely fake, right? But now it's not. We have some of the bosses that are coming out of hiding, which is starting to cause some problems. We've been seeing that over the past couple of episodes. It's been a blast. It's been awesome. We've talked about it already. But now, what happened this episode, I think, was absolutely incredible for two things. First of all, the Rangers took off their masks. I think that was genius. That was so smart because it stopped having them be these icons instead of being like they became like celebrities. Because before they would have other people kind of like be them, right? I don't feel like showing up Sunday. They're too better than that. So now they're kind of in the spotlight where it's like there's not Pink Ranger anymore. It's this girl. You know what I mean? Or like Red Ranger is this guy, and it created an attachment from the people to them. So it kind of got people to believe in them more because it's kind of like, yo, do we disband the Rangers? Do we not? Well, now it makes it really easy to keep them around. So now their faces are in the public, and also Red Ranger gets outed. Like, are you kidding me? That was incredible. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, like this whole I feel like there was a lot of like wow moments in this
Mm-hmm.
episode. Um like dating back a couple episodes, you see Red Ranger basically get stabbed in the back and bleed out. Like
So funny
all the-
too.
hysterical. Dude is such a prick. So like and like everybody knows at this point Fighter D is like pretty like back and forth. Like he never really commits, and
Mhm.
obviously the whole interaction with Green Ranger when he gets beat proves that. Do you really know who your enemy is? He like trips and literally guts Red Ranger like a coward. So I'm like, yo, that's hysterical. But even you said there's no way that's how they kill the Red Ranger
Oh
in like the
yeah.
blink of an eye. Still very funny. But yeah, like the way they build up to this, and then the whole chess match where they had this like
Mhm.
live meeting for everybody to watch. I thought that was really cool because like obviously you think the monster protection side, he's got some like valid arguments, or they're on the side of peace, and like you can see them winning people over. But they got backstories, they got lore on these people, and then they took their masks off, which was an absolute power move. You're right, they
Yeah.
were like celebrities at that point because they had an identity, like Sakurama's sister. The Red Ranger finally, yeah, outs himself, but at first it worked, and then yeah, you see Red Ranger's kind of a psycho, so they lose basically all their backing and popularity until the very end, which I thought was another really good twist to be like, personality aside, they take care of business here, it's like then you need the Dragon Keepers.
Yeah, literally, it was a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all episode. Because we have like the what is it like the pro monster society that like were like they're like hey like they have rights like they should be free here, you know what I mean? They're like people too, they're intelligent, we shouldn't be like killing them, right? And they're trying to like come at the Rangers like yo we gotta like disband because the one guy used to be a Ranger. He's like yo I know you guys stage a lot of that stuff and you guys are the ones who actually commit some of the horrible things and then blame them. You know what I mean? So if we get rid of you guys, all the problems disappear. And everyone's like kind of like, oh, like yeah, like why do we need the Rangers anymore? And like the Rangers stopped being cool. You know what I mean? It kind of like wore out. That's why they make that power move where they swap it back, where like they take off the masks and it's like, oh my. But then people are like, oh, dude, she's so pretty. Like she was wearing a mask this whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they started to
Valid.
become like idols and celebrities and shit. People are like, yo, we actually like ride with like these guys are awesome. They're so cool. Like, oh look at that guy's got cool style. You know what I mean? Like I rock with the Green Ranger now. Stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like they turn the tables. But then cameras go off, and we've always known that Red Ranger's a piece of shit. He's horrible. He just like kills people. For like he gets mad, he just slaughters somebody, and it's always like the most gruesome, gory thing ever. It's not like
Right.
you know what I mean? It's nasty. Someone trips and like spills something on him, and then it just pans to the next scene, and then there's blood all over the room, and it's like, what the fuck do you even do to the guy? Like, are you kidding me?
Spilled some tea, casual crash out,
Yeah, valid. It happens. You know what I mean? But like that's the crazy thing. The cameras go off and someone starts recording on YouTube. It's one of the bosses disguised, and we see his true colors. Well, the world sees his true colors. The way he just absolutely rips this dude's arm off. He's like, "Hey, I don't like you," and it's literally pretty much what he says. He's like, "I don't like you. We don't believe in you." And he got his arm ripped off, and the whole world saw it. And then instantly, the way that everyone kind of was like, "Oh my god, the Rangers are really cool." All of a sudden, they're public enemy number one. But then we have another twist because then the monsters in this whole society were kind of like, oh yeah, we're just gathering people to slaughter them. We're gonna turn you into monsters. And it was like you had everyone on your side, and then you completely just threw that away again. Because then you turned this whole group of people, these like, they kind of became like religious like zealots or whatever. You know what I mean? It became like a
Yeah.
cult like following. Go to this place. They were all turned into monsters. And then now the heroes are back. The Rangers are back. We're like, all right, guys, let's take care of business. This is what we do. You know what I mean? And it's like this whole back and forth, all in one episode. But that's what I'm excited for, is that the fakeness is over. We're back to war. And I cannot wait for that. And I feel like what happened this episode is what we talked about when we made a video about season one and why people should watch it and why it's so good, is there's no good or bad side. Both sides are so shitty, and our MC's smack in the middle, kind of playing both sides of the fence. And we see that perfectly in this episode where it's like, oh yeah, this one side seems pretty good. Oh, now they're not. You know what I mean? They keep doing things and we have this like volley back and forth, and I feel like it's about to get absolutely insane. And this is exactly, this episode right here, why I love this anime.
You're exactly right. Like I was saying, it's like the perfect payoff for something you've watched
Mm-hmm.
for 20 episodes, and like it's really, really built up well, paced well, and like even just having the girl from the first season, X's, she like saves Sakurama and keeps Hisui and Fighter D in that room so they can survive this whole thing,
Yeah.
which is like kind of crazy. They like kind of bring her back, not necessarily out of nowhere, but it's been a while, and like you have all these, yeah, like conflicting plot lines, and it's like, damn, there really is no good or bad side, and it's all coming to a head finally. So I think the end of season 2 is absolutely gonna pop off, but dude, what a crazy twist. I mean, all those people who like, yeah, basically get turned into kaiju was all part of um Utsukubo's dad's plan, which I thought like kind of
Yeah.
comes off as like a like a fanboy, like goofball kind of like when he meets Fighter D, and
Oh,
then it's
so
like,
funny. Can I have your
yeah,
autograph?
you don't expect him. He's like, yeah, I bought a ton of official and non-official merchandise. It's like, oh my god. So like that was pretty funny. You don't expect him to be like so diabolical at the end, but
Mm-hmm.
then you did have the scene with him like, or the boss monster does come down. So like if you put two and two together, you could kind of see that happening.
And that boss looks so cool, by the way, as well. Like, what an awesome
Really
design.
sick.
So I cannot wait to see that fight. One of the things is that they're like held in like prison now. They're held captive, and we did see the little chameleon, the little like lizard that the Green Ranger uses. So I wonder what he's gonna think of this whole thing, right? Because now our MC's kind of in the middle. Which side is he gonna go to? Because both sides kind of hate him. I mean, he did take a shot at the Green Ranger, so I don't think the Green Ranger's gonna be like, oh, welcoming arms, like, oh, fight with us, let's go. He doesn't give a shit. He's kind of like, yo, you fucking are fodder, bro. Like, you're so weak. I couldn't give a shit about
Yeah.
you, and you even tried to kill me. And he actually tried to kill most of the Rangers already. You know what I mean? Succeeding with the Blue Ranger. And then the other side's kind of like, yeah, fighter, like, you kind of came at us as well. So it's like, what is Fighter D gonna do? That's what I'm really interested in to see. My little prediction is that he's gonna break them out of prison because regardless, they're his friends, and I feel like they're the only people that he follows is his friends. You know what I mean? They're the only ones where you can kind of rely on him to like, save someone and do something good. So I think that the first thing is he's going to try to get them out, but I wonder who he's going to attack first. Is it going to be the bosses or is it going to be the Rangers? I'm really excited. Moving forward, the Kowloon Rangers is going to be insane. The action is going to be incredible.
Dude, yeah, this fight is first off going to be incredible, but it's really going to be cool to see who, yeah, Fighter D kind of sides with because
Mm-hmm.
Sakurama's back in the picture now. This is going to be their first interaction that we've seen since the very beginning, whatever that was, episode like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Um, so that'll really be cool and obviously important story wise. But yeah, it's definitely time for him to like take a side, and it's tough to know who he's going to go with, but he really hasn't sided with the monsters more than the Rangers, despite hating the Dragon Keepers. I'm with you. I still think he sides with his friends and goes with the Rangers rather than like this dude who just killed a bunch of people.
yeah. I need like the recap episode or like the filler episode that kind of goes just focuses on Sakurama's background and what he's been doing for the past 2 seasons. Because like he'll pop up and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, well it looks like so and so beat me here," and it's like I guess we're tied now because that's something he brought up. He's like, "Oh, I didn't expect the society to be so far. I guess it's going to be a draw," because he's competing with Fighter D. Because right, they both have the same objective, but they have two different routes. He's kind of to go the humane public route, while Fighter D is just going for assassinating, right? And they don't
Yeah.
believe in each other's journeys or the way that they're going to go about it, but they both believe in the same end goal. So I'm interested to see what Sakurama's been doing because, like, from what I can tell, it seems like he hasn't done shit. It seems like anytime he
Pretty
goes to do
much.
something, he's like, "Oh, someone beat me here. Darn it!" Like, what do you mean that's a draw, bro? Fighter D has been doing a lot. Like, he hasn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's been putting in that work. Like, what have you been doing this whole time? I need that episode that breaks down exactly what he has up his sleeve. Because there's got to be something. No way he's just been wandering around, aimlessly this entire time.
Basically gets pulled out of like a pile of trash. He's like all infected and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like my guy's definitely not doing well. And say what you will, Fighter D's got a body on his hands, a Dragon Keeper. So
Yeah.
yeah, tough to say it's a draw, but yeah, it would be good to see kind of what Sakurama's been up to or like what evidence or like proof he has to like expose like the whole corruption. But yeah, it'll be really interesting. I think episode 21 and 22 will pretty much lay that out for us as far as like who's taking what sides and kind of where the story goes from there. Because this has been building, yeah, basically since season 1.
Well, I think his way of doing things is we haven't seen it yet. It hasn't paid off yet. But I feel like what's going to happen is that it's what's going to be the main thing moving forward. Because what we've kind of realized is that if you kill one ranger, they're just going to replace them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're just going to replace them. So I feel like you do have to take a different, maybe political approach to it. Because yeah, like I don't see how else it's going to work out. So we'll see moving forward, kind of like how this plays out. But I don't think Fighter D's way of doing things, even though it's been what we've seen so far, is not going to be the same thing we see moving forward. I feel like we're going to see a lot of things change, and that's what I like. Again, I'm just really excited. I feel like this episode completely changed the landscape of this anime, and moving forward, it's going to be chaotic and it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, definitely. The payoff is going to be really sick. And like, I
Mm-hmm.
love the way they've built up to this point, but yeah, cannot wait to see what happens because it's been really tough to predict. Even this episode had a bunch of twists. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to like make predictions. And I think as far as like, yeah, saying Fighter D is going to side with the like 2 or 3 friends that he has, it's pretty much the only given at this point.
Well, to be fair, he's got friends in every team now. Because remember, he in the academy, he met everybody, and they ended up coming close at towards the end because they fought that boss together. Well, they've all kind of divvied up and gone to different rangers. You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to come back and play a huge factor in this as well, because they're going to be have access to a lot of different resources and abilities. You know what I mean? Because like that's something that they kind of brought up, where they kind of like see each other and like, oh, you joined blue, oh, you joined red, you're yellow, cool, like that's awesome, and they kind of will have the kind of distant, but like it kind of reminds you that they're still there, they're still part of this, and they're kind of like spread out. So I feel like there's gonna be a reunion at some point.
That's a really good point, especially with this whole like, kaiju explosion going on. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think that's a good point, especially the guy from Red who was talking about the traitor. Obviously, you assume it's Fighter D, but we find out later that it's Utsukubo, and it gets us to this point. That I forget the Red Ranger that he was in like the academy with, but
Yep.
that'll be really cool. It'll be cool to see them kind of like fight side by side, is what I would expect.
Well, I think there's like multiple traders because like the thing is, and like this is kind of the bad thing about the way it all played out, is that because there was no real threat and this was all like pretend, you know what I mean? It was all for show. There was a lot of infighting between the Rangers. There was a lot of collusion, and there was like pretty much a civil war the entire time. I mean, everyone was like glad on the Rangers side that Red got exposed. You know what I mean? When he told the lieutenant, she's like, "Oh, I wish I saw everyone's reaction in person in like real time. That piece of shit finally got exposed. Like, thank God. Like, if only I was there for that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole lot. Like, the Green Ranger finds out that the yellow chick, I forget her name, she was like coming after him. It's not like he was like really surprised that much. He didn't really give a shit. He's like, "Oh, it's you." Like, how are the other artifacts? I don't know if we brought that up, but like he knows. He knows that she is after all of the Rangers artifacts and that she has a couple. He's not doing anything about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care. Like, it's so insane how much all these Rangers are. They have their own motives and agendas, and they're in their own worlds, and none of it like interacts with each other. And I feel like now that they have that common enemy again, it's like, all right, public opinion's against us. We actually have a real problem here. We got to work together. That could cause a problem, or that can cause more chaos because they might not work as well together as they might hope.
Yeah, like we get a couple of like glimpses into that, especially with like the Yellow Keeper telling, I
Oh
forget what her name is,
yeah.
but like yeah, he's obviously aware of it, and like
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten bits and pieces of it, but yeah, they're not exactly like the most galvanized group. They're not really together. Like you said, everybody has their own motives and like agendas they're trying to like get whatever accomplished. I do think they would like they'll pull together to beat these kaiju, but like the fallout might split them even further. You know what I mean? Especially with like Sakurama's sister being revealed and the Red Ranger obviously being a piece of shit. Like I could definitely see that breaking some stuff up, and obviously it'll affect Chidori, the Greenkeeper,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like our main squad there. So that'll be cool, but I expect maybe that to be like the very end of this season or like the beginning of whatever's next for
Yeah.
season 3, I guess.
And that was a good look because I completely forgot about that. There was a lot going on in like the red like division. I mean, not the red, the yellow division. Like she sat there and pretty much exposed that they're up to a lot of shady shit. They know a lot of shit that they like aren't revealing when it comes to like the mutations and the monsters and stuff like that. And she pretty much blackmailed the Yellow Ranger and was like, "Yo, let me be Ranger or I'm gonna out you." And he's like, "Like I'll think about it." And it's like, "Wait, like what do you mean? Like, dude, it's getting so like it's so dramatic. You know what I mean? Like
It
there's
is.
there's so
Like
much going on.
just yeah, how the plot builds. Like you have all this stuff finally coming together and like right at the end of the season with like 4 or 5 episodes, it starts
Hmm.
paying off. Yeah, I feels good like having that anticipation in season 1 and finally getting to that point. So good.
Yeah, like honestly, this anime is phenomenal. You really gotta watch it if you aren't watching it. I mean, second season, like it delivered, and like it's a second season. I feel like they always do pretty well because that first season, the introduction, kind of like a build up. They're getting right into it. You know what I mean? It's not like a ramp up kind of season where like you have a huge season three. Like this season two has been phenomenal. It has been so good. So many twists and turns. The story's developing so incredibly well. It's super fast paced. Now we're getting into a lot of the insane action scenes. Like what else can you ask for? You know what I mean?
Definitely money, man. I've been loving it. And you said there's manga, so I don't know how deep it can go, but I definitely expect the season 3, and feels like it's definitely more popular than it was in season 1, which for good reason. It's been very, very good and very entertaining. So yeah, I can't wait, man. This season, the end of the season, is gonna pop off.
Yeah, at the bookstore today, saw the manga section very, very small, very, very like empty. That one book there was the Go Go Lose Ranger one. I didn't even pick it up. I didn't want to check to see how many chapters there were. So I'm like, if I open it like a spoiler, like I can't be doing that.
See
So I,
something crazy? Yeah.
yeah, I avoided it. I'm like, nah, I can't do this. I can't be tempted. I was like, I walked away. But that is something that it is you got to consider because like, how many chapters do they have? How many seasons can we get? I mean, it's a Hulu exclusive, which means it's not talked about nearly as much, which is unfortunate. But like, hey, you got to check it out. It is really, really good. It is worth the watch. It is phenomenal. But speaking of phenomenal, To Be Hero X again, an incredible, incredible episode. Like so good. So many things that like we have to dive into and talk about. First of all, huge shout out to MTS. He's dropping comments on a bunch of our pods, giving us so much information about 2B Hero X. We really, really appreciate it. One thing I didn't think of that he brought up on the last video was like, hey, you should watch the trailers. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
just because, like 2B Hero X wasn't, like, marketed, and no one really knew about it, before it dropped and became super popular, I'm like, doesn't mean they didn't have marketing materials. It just didn't reach, the States. It didn't reach, like, other parts of the world. It's still there. And, of course, it's all in Chinese, so, like, good luck trying to understand it. But it looks really cool. So that is something where I did go and I started looking at it. They give us a little warning that, like, hey, the trailers are really awesome. Watch them after that character's arc, because the trailers actually reveal a lot that's not in the arcs, but also reveal some spoilers. So it's actually worth watching. It's not like something where you're gonna be like, oh, it's just a little recap of the arc. It's like it's not like a traditional trailer that you think. It actually has like bonus footage. So it's really, really cool. I wanted to do a video like reacting to a bunch of them, but of course, there's a ton of awesome music in it, and that's 100% getting copyrighted. So let me just say, I watched the Nice one and the Esol one, both of them phenomenal, very, very good, especially the Nice one. So I cannot wait for after next week, after the third and final episode in the Lucky Cyan arc, to watch hers. Like, you guys got to check it out. There is a lot of material that 2B Hero X did drop leading up to this. We just like didn't see it. It wasn't like pushed, to everybody else. So very, very cool. Thank you again for the comments. Guys, listen, we always appreciate comments. We love talking about anime with you guys, and especially if like you guys know stuff that we don't, which is pretty likely, we appreciate it. Dude, there's so much.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much, and it's like hard to like find a lot of this stuff, you know what I mean? And like you can't keep stuff hidden. We can't gatekeep things, boys. We gotta tell everybody about it so it becomes super popular. We get more seasons and continuances and stuff like that. But we appreciate it. This episode was absolutely incredible. In the beginning, we kind of learned that the Dean actually used to be a hero. I thought that was awesome because one thing that I noticed at the end of the last episode was he started using his powers trying to stop Lucky Cyan, right? And I'm like, why is this random Dean like low-key popping off? Like, why is he kind of strong? I didn't like that. Like, is everyone kind of like that strong? So the fact that we kind of got some background on him is like, hey, he actually used to be a hero. He used to be very strong, but he kind of just fell out of popularity. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That makes sense why he has like powers, why he kind of has that Tokyo Ghoul vibe going on. Like Ken Kaneki showed up. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, dude.
And that's also why he's like very like, I don't know, aggressive around Lucky Cyan, trying to make her like a hero or like worshipped in a way because he wants to like create a new hero. So that kind of background I think was sick, especially for this episode.
Yeah, dude, it was really, really well laid out because I thought the same thing. Like, all right, why does this dude have powers? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, there's got to be an explanation. And then we learned this episode that he used to be a hero. Like you said, he fell out of popularity. So that explains, his whole motive of trying to start this orphanage and helping underprivileged kids, which to a degree, he's not really helping them. He's just giving them shelter and stuff. And he's using Lucky Cyan to kind of like make this hero or this maiden that everybody prays to satisfy his urge to help people, even though, I mean, we've seen plenty of, footage with Lucky Cyan. She's definitely not happy. There's a lot of pressure, and it's definitely not like her personality. So I expected the fight to be a little bit bigger. Like his powers were sick, yeah, very like Tokyo Ghoulish.
Oh yeah,
I kind of thought I thought that would kind of be like the focal point to a degree, but at first I was mad when this happened, but then I'm like, come on, man, it's Truck-kun, it's anime. Dude, again,
that's what I was about to say.
Another pair of bodies. Truck-kun remains undefeated in yet another anime. Love that little Easter egg. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Oh, wow. That is lucky. You know what I mean? That's kind of well done. So I love that. But then we see him later in this episode. So I'm like, all right, he didn't just get bodied by the truck and it's like bounced out of the story.
Dude, that's what's like. You're like, oh, I'm surprised the fight ended so quick. I'm like, bro, Lucky Cyan's so strong. She summoned Truck-kun. Like, you can't beat her. You know what I mean? Like, you think Jinwoo can stand up to that? No. Like.
The most OP anime ability of all time to summon Truck-kun. Well done, 2B Hero.
Dude, when that truck came through that wall, I started dying. I'm like, yo, Truck-kun about to get the assist. like, no shot. But yeah, I was hoping too, like when it hit the wall, that it actually missed them. But it's crazy how it hit them and he protected the kid. That is the one thing I want to give him credit where credit's due.
True, yeah,
I think
true
he is treating Lucky Cyan like he's just using her, and I think he's treating her poorly. I do think he is helping kids though, because even everyone said he's like, yo, why did you invite the Calamity Kid? And he's like, well, we're an orphanage. We're here to help people. If everyone's going to turn their backs on this kid, we're going to bring him in. You know what I mean? And he did protect the kid, even though he's trying to, like, fight him in a way. You know what I mean? So I do think that there is good to him. I think he's very clouded in his judgment and in his sight with his goals of like trying to get a hero or something, because like yeah, something's definitely off. He's definitely not like the good guy, but like he is doing good, and like him protecting the Calamity was huge. But is the Calamity our new villain? Like no
It's
shot.
got to be whatever he tells the Calamity Kid. We don't hear it because it's silent, which
Yeah,
again
it's
I thought was
bullshit. I want to know.
bullshit, but nice move. Got me again. You'll see me here next week. I'll be there. But like you, and then they perfectly do that scene where Lucky Science playing. You got all like the idol aura like coming up. All that. It's like, well, it's not really cell phone lights, but whatever we want to call that. Girl power. Like rising up, and then he's like infecting people, and like I don't know what's going on there, but he's obviously like taking over, and his abilities look by far the most dangerous that we've seen
Yeah,
so far.
like that was
We
actually
still,
yeah.
my bad, not to cut you off. We still don't know like what the fuck her powers are. Like I guess she's lucky, but like does she even know like about her powers or how to use them or anything like that?
It seems like we've caught up. You know what I mean? Because it seems like that concert that like we end up seeing her at was the concert that the girl from ESO Arc was at. So it seems like that
I
was her
did look that
first
up.
one.
I looked it up, but I can't find whether it was or not. And you got people posting like
Yeah.
side by side animations. I'm like, all right, I just needed like a yes or no. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can't tell, but that's what I thought. Like, all right, we're kind of at that timeline, like
So,
where, yeah, everything goes down.
yeah. So like it's kind of hard to tell. Like, does Lucky Sign like fight? But it's something we keep bringing up, and that was finally addressed in this episode. I say finally addressed. This is the second episode in
Oh,
this arc. You know what I mean? But we brought up like, does she even
yeah,
want to be a hero? Does she even like fight? And she
right.
didn't want to be a hero. You know what I mean? She became one. For the Calamity Kid to kind of go back and save him. And she even said that she doesn't want to like fight. She just wants to like do music. You know what I mean? And to save her friend. And that's something that was touched on this episode. So it's like that's where it's kind of like, where is this at in the timeline? Like, is she a hero that fights? You have to assume that she does, and or that she's about to. So like that's gonna be something that's gonna be really really cool. Something I think is gonna be absolutely insane is that first of all we better, and I know we're going to, we better hear what he said to that kid, because like what could it possibly be? Next episode again is the last episode in this arc, so everything's gonna be coming to a close. Whatever it is though, I think it's what turned him into like kind of like a villain. The thing is that we've seen from the Nice arc that your emotions can kind of like pretty much dictate everything. It kind of make you a bit stronger, right? But it also can turn you evil. Remember the his boss became like very like envious and like greedy and like the despaired, and that's where his like evil villain powers kind of came out. Do you remember that? It was on the dating show when he was with Moon, and then his boss kind of comes out of
Yeah,
nowhere, and has, it was like, it's like a very like an affection kind of the way that the powers look, and that's what we saw at the end of this episode. So it seems like whatever he told the Calamity Kid might have swayed him and like kind of like broke him in a way that caused him to kind of like spiral and then develop these evil powers. So I think that he's kind of like controlling everybody. They're all turned into like zombies, but more importantly, the Dean did, which means that he's either strong enough to kind of overtake the Dean, but that also means that she's gonna have to then fight him. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna have to fight not just the Calamity Kid, but also the Dean, which again we were reminded used to be a hero. So he's no weakling. He's no one to take lightly. Like he is strong. So I'm really excited to see how the action side of this, plays out in the third episode.
yeah. Like, I guess again, I think I say this every week, but this was like a really good,
Mm-hmm.
probably the best example so far of, seems like the Calamity Kid feels like a sense of responsibility or guilt about Lucky Cyan leaving. So like the whole orphanage kind of feels some type of way, like, we lost our maiden, we have no one to pray to. Like I think he feels or is being pressured to feel responsibility for that. So
Mm-hmm.
that like amplifies his instead of like his trust value, I guess like his fear. You know what I mean? His like villain power. So I would imagine him to be pretty strong. You're right. And like the Dean is definitely playing into this to amplify it.
Yeah.
So I definitely think those two will be like really tough. But one thing I did see was the guy who throws her the gold coin. Everyone was saying that's X, even though he's like not in his hero outfit. He doesn't say anything, but like he's got like the same type of clothes and like throws up the hand. That was it.
The
I
number
was like,
one
yo, that
guy.
would be, yeah, that would be huge. Like, does he know who she is? Like, is he, he just basically throws her like, I guess a shitload of money, a gold coin. I'm imagining would be like,
Yeah.
some big bills or whatever for
Hmm.
a homeless orphan,
Yeah.
But like he doesn't like do anything, but like, did he? You know what I mean? Does he know? Did we see X? So it's like hard to know, but I don't know. I did see that.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we talked about how there's gonna be overlap between these episodes, and that's where we kind of move on from arc to arc to arc. Well, the next one is the Queen, and we saw her in episode one, and it seemed like again that was when like she was younger, she was kind of a kid, and she was like very like business oriented of like okay, here's like the layout, here's how things are gonna transpire of me becoming a very strong hero, right? And we haven't seen her since. And it kind of makes no sense to just randomly have that. So speaking of other heroes and kind of like the blending or the kind of like being involved in the different arcs, how is she gonna come into episode 3? But she's got to come back. There's no shot she's not in episode 3. So I'm wondering how she plays into this as well, and maybe if any other heroes also kind of appear.
Yeah, like going back to what you and the commenter said about like watching the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to like Gacha Utaka. I read a bunch of the manga. I don't think there's a Kagurabachi one, but like what to expect or what you're previewing.
Mm-hmm.
So like you don't watch with the same intent as like something that we never saw in advertising or like hype stuff for the show. So I didn't really watch it critically, I guess you could say. But like you do see old Isol and then like what is the new Isol like in that fight just for a split second. So like it does give spoilers. So I'd have to go back and watch and see like, and that was only the one preview trailer. Like if we do get anything more out of that, but yeah, like this episode will be huge. I feel like between the Dean, the Calamity, and Lucky Cyan, there's still like other characters. We don't know if they're gonna fit back in because it's only the last episode of this arc.
Yeah, so I'm like you said, I'm really excited for it. I think it's gonna be sick, and it seems like the trailers too also give bonus stuff as well, which means if you watch this the arc first, it's gonna be like really cool to kind of go back, watch that trailer, and be like, oh, here's some extra like things about it, and like that's gonna make a lot more sense. And it's gonna be really cool. But I mean, To Be Hero X is absolutely killing it. The last episode in this arc is gonna be absolutely incredible, and then we have the Queen. I think the number two. I think she's number two hero. We're gonna have her arc after that, and I'm super stoked for that. That's gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to continue to meet more and more of these characters because we talk about it every week. This anime is incredible, and these characters are so cool. They all are so well designed. They seem really cool, and these arcs are just so engaging. It's insane how they're like 3 episodes, 4 episodes, and they pack this much info and action into them.
Once this show is over, or like, you know what I mean, these 24 episodes are done, I want to like recap everything and then figure out. Cause like, yeah, like you said, we're moving
Mm-hmm.
from different time periods. It's not linear, but I feel like there's so much we've been exposed to. And like reading people who I guess know more than I do, it's like, oh shit, like I didn't think of that, or I don't know who that is. So I feel like there's so much more that we're like maybe missing just because we don't know. But yeah, going back through after it's all said and done, I feel like will be equally as crazy.
You know what I'm really excited for that you bring that up? I don't know if it's gonna be true. I don't know if it's gonna happen. But you gotta imagine summer season is gonna pop off. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be a bit much, especially because To Be Hero X is continuing into the summer season, right? It's gonna be insane. By the way, video coming out where we talk about everything coming out in the summer season. It is huge. It's coming out this week. I promise. But what's really kind of interesting is that I think that the fall season's not gonna be as aggressive. I think someone's gonna end up coming out with like a watch order of like, yo, here's how to watch it in order of all the arcs mixed together. That would be awesome. That is something I'd go back and I'd watch it in the actual like timeline order, over at the fall season to kind of like check it out and kind of get it before I go and I also vote on who our top 10 is because that's going to influence season 2, which is going to be awesome. I think that's going to be really, really cool. I hope someone does it. I hope someone creates that like watch order of like, hey, here's like the timeline because that would be amazing.
Not that it's like terribly difficult to understand. It's like, very entertaining and the arcs are great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you would see more of like the story and like the subtle plot lines that you miss when you're just watching it for the first time. And like, yeah, if you went back and rewatched it, but yeah, we've discussed it many times. Summer is going to be crazy, so it'll
Yeah.
be tough to keep up with everything. But you're right. Having like a watch order, I think, to really like understand fully the whole season when it's all said and done would yeah, help me vote like maybe a better top 10 than I would have just going through it and voting the first time.
Yeah, because like you said, it's not complex, but at the same time, it is because like when you have all these characters blend into all these different arcs, at different periods of time, like these arcs, these characters are drastically changing. You know what I mean? Like look at the Nice arc. You know, the guy who he was at the beginning of it, towards the end, completely different. Same thing with Isol. You know what I mean? So when you have these characters that are changing so much and you have so many different things going on, and then you keep having them pop up here and there between the episodes, you know, at different time periods, that's definitely gonna like it's gonna be hard to keep up with and to kind of like see. You know what I mean? So if you were to watch it in like chronological order with like time, I feel like that's gonna paint a much better picture, which would be really cool, especially if that really was the number one hero in the very beginning of this episode. You know, having that further explained on his last episode, because he is the very last episode. He's only getting one episode. I think that's gonna be cool, and because he's only getting one episode, I hope he pops into a lot of the different arcs. You know what I mean? So we do get more content of him, except for just one singular episode.
Yeah, that would be kind of a bummer just because obviously the hype is there.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, and that's just like speculation, but there's so many little things that we've been kind of exposed to that we don't know for sure. So it'll be interesting, yeah, to see how he fits into all of this.
mm-hmm.
I kind of like that theory that that was him who tossed the coin. I mean, it looks
Yeah,
exactly like him.
yeah.
And they're alone on like a dark, empty, town square, and it's just them. Like, there's a little too much there to suggest that it may be him.
And he snuck up on her too. Like she was just kind of playing, and out of nowhere the coin kind of hit. She's like, "What? What was that?" And then she looks, and then he's like 30 feet away. You know what I mean? That's a little suspicious in my opinion. That doesn't scream normal person. When I first saw that, I even kind of thought, I'm like, is that like a hero? Is that like the number one guy? Like I'm like there's something like up with him, but you don't know for certain because it's like still very ominous, still very like mysterious, which I thought was really cool. So like if we see little things like that, like moving forward in the upcoming arc, especially not just with the number one guy, but with multiple heroes, I feel like that's gonna be like really really cool. I mean, To Be Hero X has yet to miss. It is just so good. It is killing it this season. Definitely my favorite anime this season, like by far. It's not even close. I absolutely love it. Spotify, huge shout out to Spotify. Today's Monday, so of course, naturally, I'm gonna go to my Discover Weekly. You know, Spotify makes you a little playlist of what you might like. Guess what song appeared today? It was the Lucky Science song from
Yeah,
episode 2. And I'm like, yup,
banger.
that's going in the playlist.
Absolutely. That's a perfect pick right there. Yeah, like I mean, we've gone over it a bunch of times, but like
Mhm.
super amazing anime. You're adding phenomenal music into the mix. You got me
Incredible.
sold, man.
Yeah.
So good.
Dude, Spotify was quick with that too. I'm like, the episode just dropped and you're already putting that on the play. Like, yeah.
Got to get it while it's hot.
They
Yeah.
know what's up. They know what's up. But speaking of Kowloon generic romance, what are you thinking of this anime? How are you feeling about it? I'm not gonna lie. I'm intrigued. I'm not excited. You know what I mean? It's a weird anime to talk about because it's different.
And it's like really complex. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't seen it, it's really almost impossible to give somebody an explanation where you're like, "Oh, okay, I understand the story. I like it. I'll watch it."
Mm-hmm.
Like you just have to watch it and be confused, like we are. And like I was kind of like fading with it a little bit because it
Mm-hmm.
is like really kind of a mind fuck. But I feel like this episode, A, kind of built us up to like A, what's going on, but B, also like it's kind of getting kind of dark. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really have the highest expectations for like a happy ending, but at least we have some direction. And I feel like this episode kind of put a decent summary on what the fuck's been going on the last like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, and you kind of get the indication shit's about to go down. You know what I mean? Especially with the kill order on the MC. That kind of screams that hey, things are gonna go like things are gonna happen. Things are gonna start to speed up here a little bit. But that's what I'm saying. A Kowloon generic romance is kind of like tough to like talk about. Because like I said, it's intriguing, not exciting. Like you're really intrigued of like, hey, what's going on? Like I need explanations here because like there's a lot of mystery. This seems really cool. It's a really interesting plot, but nothing's actually happening. It's not like a cool mystery where like there's these twists and turns. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Oh no, that happened. Like Go Lose a Ranger. Like, oh my god, wait, they take off the masks. Oh my god, like Red gets exposed. Oh my god, wait, they ended up turning a bunch of the humans into monsters? Wait, okay, now the heroes are here? You know what I mean? Like, it was one thing after another. And with Kowloon, you don't have that. You just have more mystery and more questions, but you have no answers and you have no, like, big moments. And that's, where I think Kowloon needs to kind of, like, speed it up here. But I'm kind of thinking that, hey, if it got animated, if it's got a manga that's got some chapters, it's gotta cook. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta have those moments where it all pays off, which is why I'm like, yo, I'm giving it the season. We're this far, you know what I mean? If it was 24 episodes, I'd probably end up dropping it. But I am really intrigued to see how the season kind of ends. There is so many things starting to go on. I mean, in my opinion, we had the blonde hair girl actually leave Kowloon. She went to Hong Kong, and one thing we learned that's huge is two things. One, that thing in the sky doesn't exist outside of Kowloon. And two, the food puts you back in that trance because apparently Kowloon's been destroyed, and we kind of talked about that. Everyone knows that except for like a handful of people. And they see it and they're like, hey, this is ruins. Like they didn't even acknowledge the MC because like she didn't exist. She wasn't there. She's fake. So my question is that I want to know when we get more into about the thing in the sky. I feel like that holds the key and the answers to everything. And that's where things are gonna get really exciting. That's when things are gonna get really interesting. Up until then, it's just kind of like it's just more questions.
Yeah, it's been finally like building up. Like once she leaves Kowloon and we get that scene with Gwen and Yao Mei where he can't see Kujirai, it's like, oh shit, like
Mm-hmm.
finally getting some pieces here. I think once they introduce the white-haired character, I think his name is Yulong. Um, he's been kind of the guy that's like shedding light on what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's like, have you noticed anything weird about being in Kowloon since you've been back? And she's like, not really. And he's like, well, it's fucking summer all the time. And like they do an awesome job. And you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, it's always hot. But they do a really good job of like having the cicadas in every episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like super focus on it. They're like having iced coffee, and then you just hear cicadas. And then she forgets like what he told her because she slams the iced coffee like a psycho, which I thought was like kind of funny. But then you're like, oh yeah, like the food and drink make you, put you in this trance where like everything's nostalgic and you're not really necessarily thinking straight. But that was like the first time that we had that solid connection. And Yulong is kind of the guy that's pointing that out. We did see it with Miyuki, what is he, a pharmacist? I don't really know what he is,
Miyuki is like kind of on his own. Like he fronts as like a pharmacist guy, but like he's kind of like a plastic surgeon. Like he's kind of like just doing
Yeah,
some shit. He's experimenting. It's like all a front, I think. You know what I mean?
he's a very complex character that we still don't know a
Yeah.
ton about, which like he's obviously a key player. And then I think finally after we get the conversation with Miyuki and his father, the
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical like big dog,
Yeah.
we learn kind of that he's trying to replicate his son.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's trying to have this perfect version of his son, which I
Who's
think
dead? That's
obviously,
the whole point. Yeah, his son's dead. He's
yeah,
trying to bring him back to life in a way.
just like Kujirai.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Gwen and Kudo are really the only two other people who remember Kujirai kind of the way she is,
Mm-hmm.
or was rather, and how she is now. So the only thing I can really think is like that thing in the sky, the Terra, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is like creating clones of these people through the memories of people that have passed on, like Miyuki and his dad, Kudo and Kujirai, and like Gwen, because he was the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to, it's like so hard to describe. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like
it's crazy because
the
I think it's
memories.
fake. I think it's all fake because when the blind girl comes back, everyone talks about how this food might not be safe. That's why she wasn't drinking the iced coffee. And they're like, you think it's not fake? I mean, you think it's fake? You think it's like not safe? And she's like, yeah, yeah. You know what? I want to believe. I want to believe that Kowloon is real. I want to believe that everyone's like bullshit. So she slams it, and that's when she's back in the trance. But then you think about it, and you're like, okay, the pizza dude showed up and said that, hey, Kowloon's in ruins, and they looked around like, it's not in ruins, it's right fucking here. Like, are you not going to talk to, the MC? He's like, what are you talking about? There's no one there, right? So clearly, like, for people, it really doesn't exist. It's fake, which makes you wonder, where did they get the coffee from? Where did the food come from? All right, she sews. Where did the fabric come from? If no one's doing business with them because they don't think it's real, well, where are these material things coming from? Which makes you think that the thing in the sky is creating more than just people. It's creating everything. And it's all an illusion, and that's why if you drink the Kool-Aid, you get hooked onto the idea of Kowloon's a real thing, and you get stuck back in that trance. You know what I mean? So that's my kind of theory, and that's why I want to know more about that thing in the sky.
Excellent. Excellent. No, I think you're spot on. And like, I feel like this is the first time in whatever, 10 or 11, 12 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, 9 or 10
Yeah.
episodes in. I'm like, we could finally like discuss the story because we fucking understand it because it's been
Yeah.
so crazy. And we still don't know what the Terra thing in the sky is doing. But I think you're right because that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yao Mei's making clothes and stuff. They're doing all this, they're basically living their lives, eating, drinking. They always go to the same dumpling spot. They're constantly getting coffee. They kind of do the same things over and over, which is like, kind of lends itself to routine. I
Hmm.
think obviously, like you said, it's all the doing of that thing in the sky, but how did we get to this point? And the only other indication we have is Miyuki bringing in the old guy from
The
who
OG
probably
Kowloon.
yeah, and who probably lived in Hong Kong now. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He moved when the city got demolished.
Yeah.
They bring him in, and as he's playing Sudoku or whatever the fuck they're playing, he literally disappears and vanishes because the original and a clone or a copy or a I forget the term they have for it.
Generic.
The generic,
They
and then
just
there's
call them
one other
generics.
like
Yeah.
there's another like word for it. But like these
Yeah.
creatures or clones or generics, like they'll disappear because the original can't be there with the clone there, which also adds like another kind of deep dimension. Kujirai's dead, so she's not just gonna walk back into Kowloon and our MC's gonna disappear. But like the scene with the French toast,
Hmm.
and Kudo's basically like, yeah, she can't cook the French toast. It's not the same girl, and that like obviously
Kudo's a
hurts his feeling.
dickhead. Kudo's insane. Like he's gotta make up his mind, bro. Like it's getting so chaotic. It's like
Brutal. It was,
he's asking to hurt himself at this point.
and it's so self-inflicted, and he even knows it too.
Yeah.
Which like it's hard to watch my man do that to himself.
Like, the second she's like, "Oh, there's sugar in here," I'm like, "Dude, stop doing these tests, bro, because it's not. Like, it's dumb. You know, you're gonna get hurt, and it's not fair to her. You're trying to make her someone who she's not. She looks like somebody. She's not that person. You know what I mean?
Especially after that they like kind of, well, they had more than a moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They spent the night together. We're being honest. And like, now that there's like that involved, like
Hmm.
that was the wrong move to make, Kudo. But like you can obviously understand where he's coming from. But yeah, it feels like that decision has to come to a head. And then she obviously feels bad about it. Like, she's just bed rotting all day. And then she puts Kujirai's old stuff on. And when she goes to put the glasses on, she like freaks out because she sees something. So that was like another, kind of foreshadowing for something, I guess, in the next, coming episodes.
The one thing I thought was really cool about this episode too is like talking about the thing in the sky. We've always assumed in the beginning that the thing in the sky was kind of run, operated, controlled, created by what's his face's dad, the plastic surgeon guy. What was his name again?
Miyuki.
Yeah, Miyuki. Miyuki's dad was like the one who created that. What we've realized is that Miyuki's dad is just kind of rich and just wants to replace his dead son. He has
She's kind of a creep.
yeah, he has nothing to do with the thing in the sky though. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, like who created that? Why did they create it? And what is it doing? You know what I mean? Like his
I'm
dad's kind of
assuming.
irrelevant. It's like a side
I'm
quest.
ass- they like barely touch on it, but like this is just a guess. I don't know for sure. Dr. Wong, Lu Wong, whatever I just literally said his name 5 minutes ago. I can't remember. The white-haired guy
Yeah.
and Miyuki all worked together and at least had a part in it, or they know what the deal is, because that white-haired guy knows like more lore than anybody else at this point.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they're all doing investigations trying to figure out what's going on. There's not like it seems like they don't know. Like I don't think that they had any part with the thing in the sky because they don't know like what it's doing. Like they're trying to replicate it. That's why they're investigating and they're so obsessed with Kowloon. Because they're like, dude, what is going on here? How do we replicate it? Because the other thing you're talking about is I saw like a Z. They're talking about these species of people that they're trying to create because they want to try to bring back dead people, and that's the thing that they're trying to create. They have like a name for it, but that's why they're so interested in Kowloon and everything going on there. So it's like, all right, who created the thing in the sky then? Like, what's the point of it? Like, it's so chaotic, and like, I feel like we just need answers because you kind of just you keep leading us on with each episode, just more questions and more questions. Like, we gotta have something here. We gotta have like something to kind of snack on. Give us a little nibble. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. We're starving. Like, so hopefully the season closes out really strong. I feel like that'd be awesome to have some massive lore bombs. That'd be sick. But it seems like, yeah, things are starting to heat up. Now they're trying to kill the MC because they want to do some experimenting. Like, hey, can you take someone from Kowloon, a generic, and take them out? If you put a original in, the generic dies. If you take the generic out, what happens? You know what I mean? So I'm really interested to see what kind of happens with that. But guess we'll have to wait till next episode for that one.
Yeah, just another crazy layer. I mean, I'm really
Mm-hmm.
excited at this point. I think everything's kind of full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be wild to see how it plays out because this is very unpredictable. But like you said, I think it's pretty popular. Like I have a Japanese friend who really likes it. She
Mm-hmm.
said it was popular, so like I can't imagine like the ending doesn't pop off or at least give us, yeah, like you said, more than just like a nibble, which I think for the first time in the last few episodes we got this week.
Yeah, I would say like it probably is definitely popular because the site where I read manga and stuff, it's popped up at the top a lot. Like I've seen the artwork
Yeah,
for it quite a bit. Probably adapted to anime. Let me actually see how many chapters. I remember clicking on it before, and I remember it didn't actually have that many chapters. It has what was that? What did that just say? Did it have 76? Okay, now it disappeared. Okay, I have to get back to it. It has 78 chapters. It's been out for it seems like 5 years. So they don't come out
alright, so not
often,
terrible
but
much.
78 is a good amount. Like that's like what, 2 seasons, you think?
Yeah, I would say a healthy 2 seasons.
Let's spoil. Let's go all the way to chapter 77 instead of 78. Does any of this look familiar? Actually we might be getting a lot more than we think in this season. So, I don't know. I actually don't know. We might be getting because sometimes the season is like 60 chapters, right? Sometimes the season can be dragged to 60.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on the pacing and like without reading the manga, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
But like if you're doing a lot of anime only stuff, you can only, you could do like 30, 40 chapters and pack load it with stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. This all looks like the same that we've been getting all season. I don't know if this does make any real headway here. We haven't had one in. The more I understand the story, the sadder it gets. Probably knows that he shouldn't consume food from other place. Uh, though I caught up. All right, people seem to really like it though. It seems actually amazing manga. Truly, damn, that was a big reveal. You've got to be kidding me! No way, I'm caught up. Okay, so it does seem like it gets super hyped up. Someone said that's brilliant. I didn't look at the chapter. I just looked at the comments at the end, and it seems like the last chapter that came out 3 months ago was phenomenal. So it does seem like it does get like a lot better. It does seem like it gets really good. So I cannot wait to get to that point because it does seem like we're talking a lot about originals and generics, and that's going to play a huge piece moving forward. So hopefully, like season one starts to give us some more answers here. But like I'm excited, especially if it does have some massive reveals.
Yeah, I think the next like episode or two will be kind of the telltale sign if like we're gonna get that payoff or not.
Yeah, so like I said, it is intriguing. The problem is it doesn't have that excitement yet. But if it brings that excitement in, I mean, definitely worth the payoff because I mean, it is really intriguing. It does seem like it's really cool. But we'll see how the season ends. I'm really excited for it, though. I have hope. All right, we're gonna play the season out. I'm excited for it, but I feel like that's it. What an amazing week so far we've had in anime, and I like, dude, it just keeps getting better and better. We have what 3 episodes left for a lot of these seasons because we had episode 9 for a lot of them.
Yeah, and then I think I might be wrong, but Gachu Utica is starting on the 6th, so like we're already starting to like get that clash of other
Oh.
stuff coming in, or maybe another preview. I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
yeah, the end of the season is absolutely gonna pop off, and I feel like all these episodes, like it's just getting to that point. You can feel like the payoff of that big season finale coming. So very excited.
Yeah, I'm so hyped. It is going to be absolutely amazing. Summer season is going to be absolutely phenomenal. This is probably going to be one of the best years of anime ever. So I hope you guys are excited. I know we definitely are. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out here?
It's time to lock in, man.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it while it's still easy, and then summer, it's go time.
Yo, it really is. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. We hope you guys are excited. We hope you guys enjoyed this season as it has been phenomenal still. It has been really good. And we do have a lot of great seasons coming up. It's not just the summer season. The summer season is just literally built different. It's on like absolute steroids. It's like a normal person in the gym and then the beefed up dude next to him just roided out. It's like that's the summer season. You know what I mean? So we still have a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff to look forward to. But yeah, we have an absolute behemoth coming. So we hope you guys are excited. Hope you guys enjoyed the season, and that is it. We'll see you guys next week. Talk more about beautiful anime, and that is it. Later, guys. Peace.